country's English
What?
name derives from Venetian.
What is this? Dude, this is not a European country. I've never heard of this before. Is like, for real, is this actually a European country? Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So I promised that I would do a part 2 of how did each European country get its name, and that's what we're going to be doing today. So if you want to see part 1, click the link that will be on this side of the video. I think it's going to be that side of the video. Click that link. It's probably this side of the video. Click that link and yeah, go check out the previous video. It's kind of really interesting seeing the history of how these European countries actually get their name. Some of them were really cool, like Portugal. I said that from the last video, so go check that out, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Please do like and subscribe. Any suggestions, feel free to leave those in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching. Let's get right into this video, guys.
East of Scandinavia. Latvia's origin is similar. Latvia seems to come from the name of the ancient Latgalians, another regional tribe, while Lithuania or Lietuva has an unknown origin, but there are some possibilities put forward. Some say it would come from Lieta, which would refer to a small local river, the Lietava, which is the general area where the early Lithuanian state first came to be. Another hypothesis is that it would come from the word Laisiai, the name of a local warrior group in the 13th century. Belarus, like we saw at the start of the video, means White Russia. One theory suggests that this name was chosen to describe the part of old Ruthenian lands that had been Christianized early on, as opposed to what was known as Black Ruthenia, which was still seen as pagan, while others say it simply came from the fact the local population wore white clothes, and some even state that white was the color the locals associated with the West, and since it was the western territory of the Rus, it became known as such. Moving to the biggest country in Europe, despite not all of it being in Europe, Russia. The name of Russia is derived from the Rus, a medieval state. However, this name became more prominent.
You see that locking right there, Rus, you know, because it actually kind of made sense with the Belarus and now Russia with the Rus. Okay, let's see.
In later history, and the country was typically referred to as Ruskaya Zemlya by its people, which can be translated as Russian land or land of Rus. Rus itself comes from the early medieval Rus people, Nordic merchants and warriors who traveled from the Baltic Sea and founded a state centered in Novgorod that later became the Kievan Rus. Speaking of Kiev, Ukraine, its name dates back to at least the 12th century, referring to the numerous lands on the border between Polish and Kievan Rus territories, and so it is generally accepted that it means borderland. The name Moldova is derived from the Moldova River. It was in the valley of this river that the original Principality of Moldavia was founded in 1359. According to legend, Prince Dragos named the river after his hunting dog Molta was lost in a river after a hunt, but when it comes to the actual linguistic meaning, it is apparently derived from the Slavic mold, meaning spruce, and ov, which means ownership, although some also believe it comes from the Old Gothic word molda, meaning dirt, and referring also to the river. Romania's etymology is literally my favorite of all of Europe. It derives from the Roman Latin and means Roman or of Rome. Also known as Wallachia in part of its region, the current name actually seems to date back from the actual Roman Empire. It was
that actually makes a lot of sense. Off Rome.
Known as Dacia until it was invaded and conquered by the Romans, who displaced or removed most of the native Dacian population. It is said Roman Emperor Trajan took 100,000 people from Roman territories and placed them in what is now Romania to take care of gold mines in the region. Since then, Dacia was Romanized, becoming Romania, and the Romanian language also evolved out of that population. When it comes to Hungary, the H in the name is said to be due to historical associations with the Huns who had settled Hungary prior to the Avars, another people of the region. The rest of the word comes from the Latinized form of Ongroi, a Greek name which was borrowed from the Old Bulgarian Agrinu, in turn borrowed from the Turkish Onogud. It's interesting to see how country names have this evolution between languages, emerging from an initial definition until reaching the current adaptation or translation today. Onogud was the collective name for the tribes who later joined the Bulgar tribal confederacy that ruled the eastern parts of Hungary after the Avars. Internally, the Hungarians called their land Magyar Ország, joining the two words Magyar, which means Hungarian, and Ország, which means country. The word Magyar is taken from the name of one of the 7 major semi-nomadic Hungarian tribes, the Magyari. Magi meant person and Eri meant lineage.
So you just
Slovenia's
put
name
that
seems
together.
to literally mean land of the Slovenes, sharing the origin of Slovakia, and like we saw, the origin of Slav is not determined. Croatia's name derives from the Latin medieval word with the same letters, Croatia. Apparently, the root of the word being a 3rd century Scytho-Sarmatian word, Koroatos. The origin of what it initially meant is uncertain, but most seem to think it was the name of a Slavic tribe of the region, although I found this definition saying Croats in Slavic language mean those who have many lands. On to
Wow,
Bosnia
okay.
and Herzegovina. The first mention of Bosnia is in the De Administrando Imperio, a handbook written by
Crazy how I never even knew this country existed once upon a time in my life. Like, learning about Europe exposed me to a lot. Like, when I say a lot, I mean a lot. And it's something that I actually wish to do with Asia and also Africa. You know, other continents are, it's not that hard with other continents like North America, Antarctica. It's not that hard, I guess. But yeah. Yeah.
the Byzantine Emperor Constantine VII in the mid-10th century, describing the small land of Bosona. This original name apparently comes from the river that passes through the region, the Bosna, which would derive from Illyrian bas
Makes
and
sense.
as, literally meaning running water. When it comes to the second half of the country's name, Herzegovina, it means something like land of the
Land of
Duke,
Duke.
Herzog's land, from the German word for duke, originating from Bosnian nobleman Stjepan Vucic, whose title was Herzog of Hum and the coast. And
Running
then
water and
Serbia.
land of
The
the
origin
Duke.
of the name is unclear. Apparently it first derived from the words Serb and Sorb, used to characterize peoples in roughly that area throughout history, but there are literally over a dozen ways these people were referred to, although always something similar. Either way, all of them seem to have the common origin of Srbi, from an old Slavic language, and this would mean family,
Family
or,
or
alliance.
alliance.
Moving on to Mat. The country's English
What?
name derives from Venetian
What is this? Dude, this is not a European country. I've never heard of this before. Is like, for real, is this actually a European country? Wow.
and translates as Black Mountain, from the appearance of Mount Lovsen, a Latin name which dates back to at least 1397. The native name is Crna Gora and has the same Black Mountain meaning. The problematic region of Kosovo is named as such in English, or Kosova in the native Albanian, but Kosovo itself has its roots in a Serbian word, Kos, which means black bird.
Bird,
The origin
wow,
comes
okay.
from the 1389 Battle of the Kosovo Field, which was named as precisely the Black Bird Field, with the shorter version of that name then being applied to the entire province in 1864. Albanians also refer to Kosovo as Dardania, the name of an ancient kingdom and later a Roman province which covered the territory of modern-day Kosovo. This name is derived from the ancient tribe of the Dardani, possibly related to a local ancient word, Darda, which means pear. Over their western borders is Albania, which has been the name of the country since medieval times as a Latin word. The more than likely origin is the local Illyrian tribe of the Albani. In 150 AD, Greek geographer Ptolemy drafted a map of the region in which he identified a city named Albanopolis in the area, and there was a medieval settlement also called Albanon. Today, Albanians call their country Shqiperia, which gradually replaced the Arberia they used during the Middle Ages. The two terms are popularly interpreted as land of the eagles, perhaps those shown on the Albanian flag. When it
Right,
comes to
right,
North
right,
Macedonia, the north refers to its geographical location and was added as a compromise with Greece, where the ancient Hellenic kingdom of Macedonia and the current region of Macedonia are located. I'm not going into the argument of whether or not the country should have this name. The reality is that it does, and so here's the origin. The modern Macedonia derives precisely from the Greek word Macedonia, an antiquity kingdom named after the local Macedonian people. The native term Makedones apparently means tall people, describing the tall nature of the local people. When it comes to one of the world's oldest civilizations, Greece. The name of the country in modern Greek is apparently means tall people, describing the tall nature of the local people. When it comes to one of the world's oldest civilizations, Greece. The name of the country in modern Greek is Ellada. In ancient Greek, it was Hellas. The country is also known as the Hellenic Republic, which comes from the Greek word Hellenikos. In legend, this name comes from the mythological figure Helen, which survived a great flood Zeus used to wipe out humanity, then becoming the founding father of all of the Greek tribes. Eventually, the Romans translated these names into Latin as Gracia and Graecus, from the name of the Graeci, one of the first ancient Greek tribes. The tribe's name was in turn derived from an old word, ger, which meant to grow old. In similar fashion to what we'll see happen for Turkey, Bulgaria's name comes from a tribe of Turkish origin, in this case, the Bulgars, who founded the first Bulgarian Empire. Their name is not completely understood and is difficult to trace back to its original meaning, but it is possibly derived from the Turkish word buluga, which meant to mix or shake, and its derivative, bulgak, meant revolt or disorder. The meaning may be further extended to the concept of rebelling. Despite having most of its land in Asia, it reaches into Europe, so I included it here, Turkey. The English name for Turkey comes from the medieval Latin Turkia, meaning land of the Turks. Turks are named as such because they are Turkish people, and it is generally accepted that the name Turk is derived from the old migration term Turuk or Toruk, which means created or strong. Cyprus's name origin is somewhat unknown, but three options are usually presented as possible. 1. The Greek word for cypress tree. 2. The Greek name for the henna tree. And 3. A native Iron Age language's word for copper, due to the large deposits of the metal on the island. Through overseas trade, the island has given its name to the classical Latin word for copper, through the phrase metal of Cyprus, later shortened to cuprum. And finally, Malta. The most common etymology is that the word Malta is derived from the Greek word meli, meaning honey. The ancient Greeks called the island Melite, meaning honey sweet, possibly because of Malta's production of honey. The Romans called the island Melita, which can be considered a Latinization of the Greek name. And others suggest that the word...
You could never tell me that Malta actually produced honey and I'd be like, oh really? Nah, bro. But that's cool.
Malta comes from the Phoenician word malith, which meant a haven or port. And those were the name origins of all European countries.
Yeah, that was actually pretty cool. You know, Portugal is still in my head. Spain, they're still in my head. Finland was just spot on, straight up good. In this diagram, he doesn't have Russia. Yeah, he doesn't have Russia in this diagram. But yeah, Russia and Belarus, whatever. Those are actually pretty understandable, actually. This was a very good history lesson. You know, it's something that you're not going to remember in depth, but it's something that I would definitely, advise anybody. Like, any country that you like, or you're from, or you represent that country, I definitely think you should actually, try to, lock in on that one and make sure that you know the origins of that country, because, the name of the country, obviously, because it's actually a pretty cool flex. You'd be like, why my country is called Finland? Yeah, it's called Finland because, we're the Finnish people and this is our land, Finland. You flex on somebody like that. It's tight. I like that, so you guys can go ahead and rep your country in the comment section down below and let me know if yours was represented in this video. And thank you for watching. And without further ado, well, I'm out of here, guys. Thank you for watching. Peace.